Good morning, guys. See, daylight is just cracking out there. I've been here for a couple of hours already, putting in some good work. Let me show you what's going on before we get to hand sharpening those beautiful Shun Santokus. Now let's try this again. If you're wondering why it's a whole bunch brighter, and I'm brewing up a coffee here again, I put that first one on like you saw, and I went to arrange something there. When I went to pick up my nice mug of coffee, I realized I didn't put my mug under the machine. Full mug, big mug of coffee, all out over the table here, down through the cabinet, so I've been cleaning that up. That's what automation gets you. Convenience and precision when everything is just right. But when it's not, you get problems. How about that view though, eh? Incredible. This part never gets old, guys. This final cleanup on these knives. So we've got, this is the first completed run of knives through the new shop, and a couple of these are customs. We'll be shipping to fulfill custom orders, but a bunch of them are available for sale. And they will eventually get to the web store. They'll be purchased from the web store if you're interested. But if you want to ensure you can nab one of these, you can just shoot me a private email or an email to the business, and I'm more than happy to sell privately that way. I've always done it that way. I'm more than happy to do that, and it gives you a chance to speak for one without having to compete on the website or hope you nab it then in time, or hope you're on the site at the right time. Let's run through a few of these just to show you guys what I've been working on. I'm really proud of these. Hunter's Special here. This is the yellow fox, which is a really loved hunting pattern of mine. I really like it. This one is sporting Hunter Orange. So if you drop it in the woods, of course, perfect. It's got a bit of a matte finish. It's oiled there now, but a bit of a matte finish, so it has a little bite to it. Black phenolic pins, black liners. Really like the lines on the yellow fox. Just really big fan of the design. I have one in some gorgeous, look at this piece of curly maple. Oh! I have the Tuckamore in various colors. This one here is in like a British, maybe a forest green, maybe not quite enough blue to be British racing green, and then a white liner in there. Another Tuckamore here, wood handle with a thick 1/8 inch black liner. Really nice. Look at this Tradesman. We have Tradesmans in stock. Again, coming to the website, but if you want to nab one, limited quantities, very limited, you can hit me up through email. But look at this Tradesman. I love this red. Again, that sort of matte textured finish. Give you a little extra bite. Those hard, crisp lines on the Tradesman. Give you all the traction you want on the job while being slim. You've got that almost Warncliffe style with the stout point there, but still cut in nice. And we have that really nice back swedge. Just overall really nice lines on the Tradesman. This is a sweet one right here. Whole bunch of bake apples in stock. Saber grinds, Scandi grinds, my best-selling knife. Green Mountain Camo, Forest Green, all different sorts. Dymalux, all up on the website. What are you doing? What are you doing? This is the first time this cat has voluntarily, oh, ouch, got into my arms. We'll talk about puss later. New Prevails ready to go. Bacote and green liners here. We have Bacote and orange liners, all with thong tubes. Again, that heavy black liner, really nice. Okay, here we go. Look at those two beautiful Shun knives. If you remember, you might want to go back if you didn't see part one, but we restored these knives. These were in rough condition. Bends that I'm not sure how they happened, but pretty nice profile. Still got a very mild sweep in this one, but won't affect performance at all. This one we got real nice and straight. Took off the tarnish, refinished the handles. They were just badly abused. I'm not sure why someone buys beautiful knives like this and treats them so poorly, but it happens. So we're going to begin with the kuromaku by Shapton. It's a ceramic stone. It's the blue black, which is a 340 grit stone. And remember, we reprofiled the edges, we dressed the edges and reprofiled them on the belt grinder. So this now is just to remove the belt grinder work. Now what I'm going to do is throw the knives on the stone, and I'm going to find that angle, and you can take a couple passes like this if you want. Kind of hold that angle, take a couple passes. Some people like to take a Sharpie and mark out, you know, color in their edge. And then when they do a couple passes, even one pass like this, you can see how you've removed that steel. Now I'm bang on there because I put the new edge on these, a nice low thin edge, very low angle, and I'm going to keep that. So it's easy for me to find that because I'm the one that set the bevel. If you have factory knives and you want to keep factory bevel, then you could use that marker. When it's real low angles, I always talk about the light test, having an overhead light and tipping your bevel down until you see the shadow disappear between the edge of and the stone. That's difficult when it's such a low profile like this. Kind of hard to see, but it can be done. Look real close and you can find it. But my work at this point, because like I said, I've already carved off a bunch of that steel on the belt grinder and sort of set that edge. I'm just removing the belt grinder work here now, the scratches. And I'm almost done that on one side already, getting that burr formed, that heavy burr. Once we've removed that, then we can go on to the next stone here. And we're going to be working with the Shapton 1000 glass stone, the 4000 glass stone, and then up to the 5000 professional. And although I'm not sponsored to say this, I get all my sharpening gear from paulsfinest.com. Superb service, wonderful selection here in Canada. Just really excellent. I don't have my beloved sink station set up, so this is doing for now until we get that going. But what I've done now is I've worked on this side until I've removed all the scratches from the belt grinder, and those are very easy to see because they're kind of coarse. So we're already getting a much finer edge, and we've worked right to an apex. So we've formed a burr that's folded over on the other side. Now what I'll do is move to the other side, repeat that same process, and then I'll kind of have a burr hanging in the middle that'll hang to either side. I'll kind of switch back and forth at that point, lightening pressure as I go, and just kind of by switching back and forth, lessening pressure, that burr gets finer and finer until it's pretty much non-existent. Now a point I want to bring up to you guys, and I talk to a lot of people over the Christmas season now about, you know, they're getting new stones and they're on their sharpening journey and they're struggling, as we all have. But I want to remind you guys that your bread and butter work is done on your coarse stones. Don't try to, you know, and I know you're excited to get up to those polishing stones and to move right along, but your bread and butter are your coarse stones. This step right now defines the whole remainder of the sharpening process. So don't rush this part. The other parts can happen really quickly. The fine grit stones, the honing, the dialing in after, the polishing, that all happens pretty quickly and effectively once this part of the process right here, this step, is done right. So I'm just going to check with good ceramic stones like this and a thin set bevel. You can check pretty often, and I can see I've already pushed the burr back over to the other side. I've removed all my belt grinder scratches. A little bit of work up near the tip where I didn't quite contact. There we go. Now I'll switch back to the other side, and I can feel that heavy burr. If I pull off the edge on this side, which is the side I just worked on, Not really feeling any grab. But if I pull off this side now, it's all the texture there. That little burr is curled up. So when we move to this side now, we're running right in burr first. Lightning pressure. Keep that same angle, don't do any changes. And with just a little bit of work here now, we'll probably still have a little touch of burr, but it'll be less. And you should be able to feel, so we were working this side, so our burr should be pushed up, and there it is. When I pull off this side now, no burr, now it's pushed up to this side, but it's much finer than it was already. We'll just switch back. Remember lessening pressure? In the beginning I used quite a bit of pressure. And I'll note I'm not counting strokes here. I've kind of developed a feel, but I know how fast I'm working, and I'm just loosely working on time. Let's have a feel, and I probably wouldn't clean up my knife and check this often if I wasn't working for you guys here on the camera. See, that burr is almost non-existent there now, and that edge is, ooh, ow, crazy amount of bite to it. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to wet down my stone. Let's see, we have no sediment embedded in the stone. Everything's nice and loosely floating. So I'm going to switch to single cutting strokes, so 1 for 1. Nice light pressure, hold that angle just like we have. And after this here now, that burr will be pretty much non-existent. With switching back and forth like this, and that lightning pressure, so we're not, you know, stressing the steel and recreating that coarse burr, it'll be pretty much non-existent. You'll have a nice hard edge of good fresh steel, no fatigue in it. And for a lot of tasks, most kitchen tasks, this would honestly be a fantastic edge. Not razor sharp, not, you know, or I should say, yes, it is extremely sharp, but it's just not as smooth for those cuts in fish that some people like. You know, it'll be a little bit of a coarse texture, and you won't get that shine off of your cut. Let me stop right there. But for, like, if you're a butcher, you're cutting beef and things like that, woo, this is a good edge. If you're cutting down chicken or you're carving chicken, oh, that is nice. Okay, now with my sink set up, I would have switched right on now with that same knife and then started the other knife from scratch, but I don't want to change this out a lot because of what I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the santoku here now, perform the same step, get it to the same stage, then we'll switch to the shapton. Now when I get to work on this stone, I'm basically going to repeat the same steps. So I'm gonna work primarily on one side. I'll form a very fine burr. You won't be able to detect it to the same degree as you could with the coarse stone, but it'll be there. We'll push it to one side, then we'll work it back. Do that a couple times, lessening pressure, and then we'll move on to the single cutting strokes. So working a little more pressure now. Not as much as I was with the bevel setting at the very start, but I'm putting a good work on this stone. And your goal here, one of your main goals, is to remove the scratches from the blue-black stone, from your last stone. That's the goal. Remove those scratches and replace it with scratches from your current stone. And these are ceramic stones, so this won't take long at all. Let's have a check here. So those scratches have been removed. Got that little bit of drag. And right back here near the heel, I don't have that drag. So I'm just going to concentrate right there for a moment. Put a little more work back there. And now I have that drag. Just that quick. So now, switch over to the other side. Put in the same work. Now, less time, less pressure. Still spending a little bit of time on each side. Start slowing down a little less pressure each time we flip. And we're almost ready for the single cutting strokes. And again, the goal is to replace scratches from the last stone with the current stone and to be lessening and removing the burr each time. If you're not, if you're just sharpening a burr and then the first time you do something, that little wire comes out there, that burr folds over as soon as you touch the cutting board, that's it, you have a dull knife immediately. Not ideal when you might have spent 20 minutes, half hour on the stones. Some people get confused into thinking they might have had a knife that was wrongly heat treated or something like that. And while that happens very rarely, does happen, it's more likely your sharpening job. That's the problem. Quick test. See, right off the 1000. Beautiful. Let's switch to that Santoku and repeat. Okay, we are slick off of that 1000. Now I'm switching to the 4000 glass stone. And we'll start off and we'll basically repeat the same process, but everything with a lot less pressure. We don't want near the pressure that we started the other stone with. So I'll work on one side again, put in some good work until I see all those scratches from the 1000 removed. But again, nowhere near the pressure. And the burr will form to a very mild degree. It's to the point where it's a little bit difficult to detect, especially if you have fingertips that are a little bit callousy or aren't real sensitive. It might be a little tough to feel. But you have to repeat that process in the same way. Look at this beautiful stone. True splash and go here. Naniwa 5000 Professional. And for here now, just going to start, hold that same angle. Just going to work it a little bit. You notice there's almost no audible texture here now. If you want, you could lower your angle and come up a little bit. You never want to come up past where you're contacting that apex, but if you want to fall down a little bit and just round off, just kind of chamfer off the edge between the two planes, you could do that. But never come up past where your edge is. Oh, beautiful polish there now. And a stone like this is not going to do much in terms of a burr, so you need to have it taken care of before now. Now we're just refining that very edge there. Oh, what a beautiful stone. Like sliding on glass. single cutting strokes. Now, assuming you have yourselves a nice fresh cayenne knife strap available, Noseworthy.com, what you're going to do, take a little bit of compound, whatever your favorite compound is, just give that leather a light dressing. That's the nice thing about leather, is it'll grab onto it. But given that I use a finished side of leather and not the suede side, it's not going to do a whole bunch of convexing. I'm not going to do that. You don't need a lot, just a little like that, and that will just work wonders on your edge, both at keeping them maintained. You have like an EDC, a pocket knife or something, give it a few scuffs on this each morning before you throw it on the rim of your pocket. Man, you can do some really nice work in putting the crispness back in that edge. You can see that compound is darkening as I pass with the steel. And I am using a bit of pressure, and I'm keeping about the same angle as I used for sharpening, so a little less angle with this one, just like we did on the stones. And you can see that gleaming finish on the edge there. Can you see that? Right up on that bevel. And our knives have been restored, sharpened. I have some newspaper here. Let's just give it a shot. So just, and then of course our knife that we completely transformed there. Oh, just gliding through the paper there. And that's that recreated, that reborn into a santoku. Oh, look at that. So thank you so much for tuning into this very first, ooh, a lot of firsts here. First restoration in the new shop. First whetstone sharpening in the new shop. I really appreciate it. If you're in need of a custom knife, you want to shop cayenne knives, head over to Noseworthy.com. Same thing for your handcrafted straps. Beautiful, ready to work for you, help you get those edges dialed in. You can head over to Noseworthy.com to shop for any of my products. For business inquiries or inquiries for sharpening or restorations, you can email me. It's in the description, it's in the comments there. I have a Patreon link there if you're interested, where you can get some inside stuff going on, lots of goodies, lots of offerings. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, of course subscribe here on YouTube, like, comment, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching this one.